Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being part of the show. We're going to have a great show for you today, but as you know, I've preached and I preach and I preach. When you come to Politics Done Right, you are here knowing that I'm giving you the best information, the truthful information, as I read it, as I see it from reputable sources. Now, in that light, before I get into saluting everybody, I want to say that yesterday, in answering one of our wonderful conservative members, or not answering his question, but making a note of his question, I made a mistake. And I want to make sure and clear that up right away. Afterwards, after I said what I said, I went back and I said, let me better research this, because even though I said it on a per capita basis, I inferred it from an article that I read, but I don't have the actual numbers, so I went to check it. I told our esteemed, Lee Grant, I think it was. Lee Grant. I told Lee Grant that the per capita, I think it was violence, killing or something, murders, I think it was, in rural areas, violence in rural areas, per capita was greater than in urban areas. I was wrong. And I went and I kept researching where I got that from, etc., etc., etc. And I found out that what it was is that I misinterpreted a 2013 Newsweek report that said you're safer in cities than you are in rural areas. And I went and re-examined the data. And as it turns out, yes, rural crime rate's increasing, but in urban areas, it is still in the aggregate greater than rural areas in the aggregate. So I wanted to clear that up, because when people go and quote what I'm saying, I want you to go quote what I'm saying with confidence. With confidence. So it's very important that I make that correction. I've already made that correction in the videos. I've corrected the videos online that I did to make sure that what we say here is accurate. Always. With that, welcome aboard Nanette Bird Smith, who says, howdy. Welcome aboard Bridge MCP, our leader in the house, Bridge MCP, and Michael Rudnin. Welcome aboard, my dear brothers and sisters. Paul Fleming checking in from ATL. And of course, there's our wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Alistair Waters. And Joseph Williams is in the house. And AC Rodriguez is in the house. Lee Grant. Come on, Lee. You know what we are all about here, brother. You know what we're all about here. AVQ. Who am I missing? I got Alistair Waters, I think. Daniel Ledo. My brother Ledo. Welcome aboard. And Bridge Bridge took over what Daniel Ledo has been missing this week. Thank you, Bridge. Yvette Avery Arid, our beautiful union, I want to say attacker, it's not attacker, specialist. Welcome to Politics Done Right. Great to have you here. From Bridge MCP. A new report from Axios claims that allies of former President Donald Trump are worried that an inside source gave the Department of Justice information about the document he was storing in Mar-a-Lago. According to publication sources, Trump world is abuzz with speculation about which close aides or aides has flipped and provided additional sensitive information to the FBI about what former President Trump was keeping at Mar-a-Lago. The report goes on to state that the atmosphere of mistrust and paranoia in Trump inner circle has only intensified in the wake of the raid. Don't call it a raid is what I've been told. My coffee party leaders have told me, Egberto, we shouldn't be calling this a raid. It was not a raid. It was a fulfilled subpoena, right? Breach MCP says a Florida license plate has reopened the debate over the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. When Florida Governor Ron DeSantis recently tweeted an image of what he said was a new state license plate featuring a coiled rattlesnake and the words "Don't tread on me," he said it sends a clear message to out-of-state cars. The imagery of the Revolutionary War era Gadsden flag dates to Benjamin Franklin, but has for many come to symbolize a far-right extremist ideology and the Stop the Steal movement that sought to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Thank you for those two pieces. Breach. Alistair Waters say hi, one and all. And Daniel Ledo says answers better be coming from the DOJ or this will not end well. Let me tell you how well this won't end. Daniel Trump, while the raid occurred and the day after, tried to muster the troops. Go onto the streets. Defend your Fuhrer. You know what Lawrence O'Donnell showed last night, and I'm sorry I didn't make a video of that one. Lawrence O'Donnell showed that there was no revolt. There's not a whole bunch of people coming to defend Donald Trump. All his Trumpists have been neutralized. There are very few of them with a big mouth on social media, but doing very little else. And Lawrence O'Donnell said, where are they? Where are these millions of people that are right there to support Trump? Trump is on the decline. The sycophants that continue supporting Trump, you know, it's just the fringes, folks. Don't let the media having to create this disparity. You know, we have a media that wants to always create some sort of tension, what's going on with Donald Trump and all of that. Our right-wingers don't even care about Donald Trump anymore. The politicians do. Because the primaries, but you know what? There is no groundswell of information or groundswell of people coming to defend Brother Trump. Because Brother Trump is an old little decrepit guy that's nothing but a thug. And folks are realizing over and over that his thuggery is ripping their monies off, collecting money from them, etc., etc., etc. It's just that, a rip-off. And as more people find out they're being ripped off, they're not going to say, oh, I'm leaving Trump because I'm being ripped off. They're just going to leave the sucker because he's nothing but a thug, a thief, an alleged rapist, and much more. Sue me, Donald Trump. Man, for calling you a thug, for calling you a thief, because we can actually legally put on paper what you've stolen. All right, Lee Grant says, hello all. British MCP says, or stop being a bully. There are more of sane people than others. And that's the whole thing, British MCP, more sane people around. The DOJ doesn't owe us any explanation except that they were doing their job. Exactly. British MCP says, you want answers? Have Trump release the inventory then took. Come on, they gave it to him. They gave what the inventory is. He can release it if he wants to. The DOJ doesn't have to do a damn thing. They don't. No man is above the law, and they never do for others. So you're right. You're right. You're right. Eric Hayes says Warren Buffett is Democrat, but why is he betting $47 billion on oil sectors? Warren Buffett is a business capitalist. So why wouldn't he do that? He's doing what capitalists do. And by the way, all the Democratic capitalists out there do the same thing. We call them neoliberals. Come on, they're socially. You know, they're pretty damn socially liberal, but otherwise, hey. All right, switching to watching from YouTube today. Restream, but isn't working on Twitch. Oops, I'm sorry about that. Let's see what else we got here. I'm scrolling down. Wrong for sure, just at the city versus rural and what people put up with. Well, I corrected myself, right? Joseph Williams says, excellent correction. That's my duty. If I screw up and make a mistake, I'm not going to hide and put it on the 6th page of one of my blogs or something like that. I'm going to come straight out on the top. Hey, I screwed up. I want you guys to know you can come here and hear the truth. Okay? That's what it's all about. Eric Hayes says deals being done in Texas. Devon Energy is scaling up the Eagles Ford Shale with 1.8 billion cash deal to buy privately held Validus Energy. Wow, why am I interested in reading that? I'm not, because we're going to take them out of business in the long run. Because again, that is old technology, bro. We got to go with the new and renewable. Michael Rodney says, Gilberto, thanks for the correction. Made me want to look it up. Statistics show that crime rates in urban areas are typically double that in rural areas. It is actually going up in rural areas now. And there was another thing. A lot of it is regional already. Eric Hayes says, ouch, still hurts. And the numbers don't lie, especially to normal people prices that consumers pay. Actually, the inflation rate between June and July was, guess what? 0. Of course, between last July and this July was 8 point something percent. Since it was 9% rate last month, that means inflation is sort of slowing. Actually, if you look from month to month, it's 0. But you know how these capitalist thugs work? They won't drop the prices on much. They had to drop the prices on oil because, like I told you, there was a glut for quite a while. You didn't know about it. But now the 60-day continual drop in oil prices prove exactly what I was saying, that there was, in fact, a glut. Ouch, still hurts is not right. All right, Alistair Waters says, it's not a raid. Thank you, Alistair. Coffee Party corrected me as well. Lee Grant says, Trump's boxes are full of leftist conspiracy theory fodder. I know, but it's not leftist, bro. Bridge MCP says search warrant isn't a raid. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Eric A says Pelosi couldn't say raid, refers to it as a harsh visit that she did not know about. Bridge MCP says no, Lee, it's got to be a national security secret stuff or Garland wouldn't have bothered. We, people like me, have a good thought, a feeling. Wouldn't surprise me. This is not corroborated, but it would not. Given that we have pictures of Donald Trump with Lavrov and all those guys in the Oval Office with him, it wouldn't surprise me that he was willing to sell American secrets to the highest bidder. And countries like Russia and others will pay billions for it. They'll pay billions for it, and they know that he has no loyalty, so it won't surprise me at all. I'd like to know what they found. All right, Michael Ronan said, if the FBI agent had to break open a safe, that's a raid. I know, language is important, but to call it a raid is still accurate. I didn't do a research on all what raid entails, Michael, so I'll have to take your word for it. And, your word is generally good in this house because you do your homework. Paul Fleming Sr. says the inflation rate dropped back to 0% in July. Actually, that is a fact. It did drop to 0% in July. Let's see what else we got. Alistair Waters says, and a federal judge appointed by Trump wouldn't have given a search warrant. Exactly. Christine Park says, compared to 2 to 3 months ago, groceries are a lot cheaper and gas is somewhat cheaper. Yeah, eggs, the flu that afflicted the egg stuff is being mitigated, and a lot of these things that all went awry at once, which all speaks very well for Democrats not only holding on to Congress, but gaining seats in both the House of Representatives and gaining seats in the Senate. Would not surprise me, those two occurrences at all. And I think it would be a good thing if a lot of those folks who get elected are actually progressives. Then we could actually get real stuff done. Michael Rodnan says, the protests against the FBI had more reporters than Trump supporters. You see this? I know. More reporters. They don't give a damn about, listen, the news media, the mainstream media gets on my nerves. They're trying to do the same thing that they did with the Tea Party. Make it look bigger until people start to think it's bigger and start wanting to join the movement. The news media sometimes drive me crazy. Mainstream, supposedly liberal, but they're not. Okay, let's see. What else we got here? Rudnan says a protest again. I saw that. All right. Paul Fleming says, quoting Trump, only crooks plead the fifth. And therefore, by using Trump's own definition, Trump called himself a crook. All right, Alistair Waters said, what's your friggin' point about Buffett being a damn Eric? I have no idea. Thank you, Alistair, for pointing that out. We got here from Bridge MCP says, it's not a raid because they opened a safe, although I read that. But the search warrant included anything. Got you. All right. Joseph Williams says, as mentioned previously, I admire your correction. However, let's not forget that while pundits talk about black on black crime, they never talk too much on white crime. The percentage aren't that great. You know what, Joseph, I don't know if you're a newcomer to our program or not, Brother Joseph, Brother Williams, but that's something we've talked about several times. That I think the black on black crime is like 90 to something percent, 91, and the white on white crime is like 87% statistically the same, right? And they don't like to say, they try to make it look like it's some sort of an anomaly. People kill people that they're in close contact with, and since we're still to some extent in the crime-ridden areas fairly segregated, that's what you find. It's just math. Thank you for pointing that out, Brother Williams. Christine Park says, I only consider it a raid if it's a surprise. Eric Hayes says, Egberto, what is your impression of the 5-6 people arrested in Houston for stealing catalytic converters already out on bond? Are they thugs or nice people you like? They're thugs. They are thugs, and you know that. I don't support anybody that are doing wrong things, but I also think that the oil executives are thugs. And I don't see anybody trying to rush them to throw them in jail. They are stealing a lot more money from the individual mother, father, brother, sister than those catalytic converter thugs. Okay. I am going to make an issue out of what Eric Hayes just said. I want you guys to understand how indoctrinated we are as Americans. Here's what. Eric Hayes knows that I not support keeping people in jail, having them get out of jail on their recognizance and put some restrictions on them. If they fail that, they go back to jail. But here's the deal. He says, Egberto, what is your impression of the 5 out of 6 arrested in Houston for stealing Cadillac converter already out on bond? Are they thugs or nice people you like? They're thugs. All right. And I think both of us agree that they're thugs. They are taking something away from Americans, right? They're stealing from Americans. All right. Let's look at the oil companies now. The oil executives that said we are going to cause these gasoline prices to raise. Even though there's not a real oil shortage, but we lie. Even though there's not a real gasoline shortage, but we shut refineries down purposefully so that we can have a reason to say why gasoline prices are higher even with an oil glut. Or we just willy-nilly carry the price of gasoline over $5 because we can. We have pricing power. How is that any different? They are picking your pockets. One does it behind closed doors, or one does it quietly. The one does it openly. I take your money because I can. When an oil company charges you $5, that's unrecoverable money they took because they could. They stole because they had license to steal. But we look at those executives as upstanding people, good people. They have caused the deaths of more people than the catalytic converter stealer, thief. These thugs in executives' offices in oil companies have caused more deaths. These thugs that run power companies have caused more deaths than any puny thug stealing a catalytic converter. Yet in our capitalist society, we decide, oh, those are still upstanding executives. But those guys that are there cutting your catalytic converter, they're thugs. I ask you, stop being indoctrinated and call those catalytic converters thieves thugs, and call those executives sitting down in those skyscrapers that are causing the price of oil to be what it shouldn't be, they are thugs as well. And they deserve the same kind of disdain and mistreatment that we do any common thug. Please, let's continue. Fashion Nova is running from federal indictment. The Anuka pyramid is one single man, the creator of COVID, active shooter terrorism and rape. For the I'm not understanding this. And these are viral plodge. All right, I don't understand what you're saying, but we'll take it another time. Maywood says, "Good afternoon, everyone. Doing okay today." Let's see what else we got here. Eric Hayes says, "Who cares about 0%? Bills are still high. Okay, whatever." Lee Grant, "Don't tread on me flag. Don't like the flag. Don't fly the flag. I like the snake." Lee, we got to have a talk. Michael Rudden says, "Avian flu killed 77 million chickens this year, affected poultry and egg prices." Yes, it did. Daniel Ledo says, "Everything right of Mao is not liberal enough for guts like Egberto." Okay. Paul Fleming says, "The first president to be impeached, Twitch, the first president to have his home searched, the first president to plead the fifth. Whoa, he's making America great again." That was funny. Trump made it a felony to mishandle classified documents in 2018. Backfired. Now he's going to get under his own law. Daniel Ado, "You want liberal examples? Scandinavia, not China." All right. Eric Hayes says, "How many times did Hillary Clinton plead the Fifth Amendment during hearings trials? This is to include Whitewater email scandals and Benghazi." Honestly, I don't know. Maybe you do. Rodnin, do you know? Daniel Ado says, replying to Fashion Nova Federal, "Define Anunnaki." Alistair Water says, "How many times?" Eric, enlighten us. Christine Park says, "Talk about thugs. Landlords are charging 4 times what they charged 5 years ago." Thugs, exactly. Thank you, Christine Park. All right, let's go with Michael says, "Fashion Nova, what Sumerian gods have to do with nuclear war?" All right. Maywood says, "I just got a message from Sierra Club to call my representative to vote yes on the inflation reduction bill, even though it falls far short of what we really need. It is a start and must pass. Please call 877-774-8907 to urge your representative to vote yes this Friday." And I will be doing that. I want them to vote yes. All right, Eric Hayes says, "Thugs are bad, sure, and glad you think so. But Egberto, you justify thuggery." Okay, that is it. When did I justify thuggery? When did you hear that? Are we listening to the same program? All right, Lee Grant says, "I love it when the left becomes sticklers for the law when it comes to Trump's document, but ignore the same law when protesters threaten Scottish justices." Threatening a Scottish judge falls under the First Amendment. However, Trump stealing classified information does not. Mar-a-Lago is legally as a hotel, so the FBI busted a crook at a hotel. I love that, Paul. Michael Rundin says, "I don't understand what Fashion Nova was talking about either. Anyone got a clue?" I don't. Vicente Gil, "They too are thugs." Yes, Vicente. Mi hermano, mi cuñado. ¿Cómo estás, hermano mío? That's my brother-in-law, Vicente Gil, the one and only. All right, let's see what else we got here. Bridge MCP, "Hillary never refused a subpoena and none. She showed up and went through 11 hours of questions without lying or taking the fifth. Trump administration officials won't even comply with congressional subpoenas, and his lawyer, John Eastman, took the fifth at most 150 times when questioned." Thank you for looking that up, Bridge MCP. Christine Park says, "What we want is for the law to treat all people the same. Correcto mundo." Christine Park. Bridge MCP, "No, Rudnin, it's a Trumper." Norman Reynolds says, "Egberto, understand you're making a point, but being out on bond means they have been charged, not found guilty." Muchas gracias, hermano. Good point. Norman gives a very important point. When you're out on bond, it doesn't mean you're guilty, so you don't know which person out on bond is guilty and which one isn't. Remember that, Eric Hayes. All right. 3 months ago, converter thug shot a cop at the store. Was that bad? Of course it's bad. I don't know what point you're trying to make, Eric. Come on, make your point and see. We believe a thug is a thug is a thug. Whether it's somebody with a gun killing a cop, it is somebody stealing a catalytic converter, stealing something in your store. What we're trying to tell you, Mr. Eric Hayes, is that your indoctrination prevents you from seeing that the executives of excellence are what I call antiseptic thugs themselves, because they have license to steal from you. The capitalist system gives them the license to steal from you from a product you must have. So they as well are thugs. They're picking your pockets. And then they have somebody like you defending them because you are indoctrinated, my brother, into a system that wasn't even designed to make you whole. Talking about slave mentality, it almost seems like, back in the old days, they had the house end and the field end and all that kind of stuff. And then you used to have it at a point when, the guy finds out that there was an insurrection that's about to come. All the slaves in the field are about to do something, and they're going to take off and run and go to the Underground Railroad. And the guy who heard about it goes, "Hey, massa, they're planning to leave." He's a slave too. And instead of forming the fold, he decides that he's going to go. But like I tell people now, right? Slaves used to have hue as the defining factor. Not anymore. Because capitalism has outgrown the type of slavery that we've all known. Slavery was expensive, man. You had to clothe the slave. You had to feed the slave. Slaves were property. So you had to if you have a car, you don't want to damage a car. So capitalism improved it. Capitalism said, we can make a better slave. Just call them employee. You come and you work for me, and you get all these benefits while you can work. But if you can't work anymore, we throw you to the dogs. We don't even want socialized medicine, which says all of us pay for those of us who get sick instead of, all of us in this group of healthy people pay for it. We don't want any of that, right? So capitalism said, now we can have a better form of slavery called employee. And when that employee gets sick or can't work anymore or coming closer, we fire them. We don't have to worry about clothing them. We don't have to worry about feeding them. We don't have to worry about any of that. Because that property is no longer property. That's just in a free form of indentured servitude. All right, continuing. Let's see what else we got here. Alistair Water says, Christine Park, you are on spot calling landlords thugs. Christine Park says, Restream bot, are you saying that the leftists threatened SCOTUS judge? They never threatened. They went and they protested. No leftists tried to kill a judge or do anything of that sort. Paul Fleming says, breaking, Biden is a great president and a great human being. All right, Marywood says, Michael Rudden, if they open the safe and then search, is that breaking in? No, it's not. Daniel Lido says, he will never say it and insists it isn't true. But Egberto wants to see America fail. I want to see the country that I'm living in fail? No, I want America to be equitable for us all. That's all I want. I didn't say equal. Because you have to work. If you want equal pay, you work for that. When I say equal pay, I mean for the same job, of course. No, I want an America where all have equal access to success. Is that too much to ask for? Is that asking for the downfall of America? Pardon, I was distracted for a brief moment. What's the question? Hey, brother, I don't know what you're talking about, my brother. Maywood says, thank you, Egberto. Breach MCP says, or rather, Mike Cisak to Breach MCP. The problem with congressional subpoenas to the president is that they violate the separation of powers. Sorry, but they don't have the power to enforce. You cannot have a separation of powers for somebody that ain't the president. So there's no separation of powers issue here. He doesn't have any executive power. Read up on separation of powers. We have an executive, we have a judiciary, and we have a legislative. And Donald Trump is of none right now. So yes, if he committed crimes while he was in the executive, then he can be charged. No problem there. Daniel Ledo says, oh snap, Egberto has taught me that threatening people is free speech. Buckle up, buttercups. Thus, eight's about to get real. Really? We'll see. You know, big bark. Big bark. Then some of them get the AR-17 and are so trastornado en la mente that they'll use the AR-15. But most are sensible enough to know they're not going to get themselves in trouble for Donald Trump. All those that came from all corners of America, those were and you take a look at these interviews with all these folks. These were a bunch of misfits. I hate to put it that way. But these were people that Donald Trump took advantage of. They were ripe for doing what they did. And you just listen to their interviews and you see exactly why. All right. Christine says, isn't threatening people assault? Okay. Lee Grant says, it is First Amendment right to threaten a judge. Is it a First Amendment right to threaten anyone? They're not threatening. They're protesting. Bridge MCP says, I know, Mike C, unless they break the law regarding taking documents. Was Bill Clinton on the Epstein list? I have no idea, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was. You know, Bill's kind of a little pervertish, you know. Michael Rudden says, Indy Borowitz satire. Kavanaugh claims protesters outside home obstructing daily cake delivery. I like that one. Bridge MCP, guys, I got to get to the videos. Bridge MCP says, Clinton was seen at an island where many others were as well. So, yes. And Maywood says, now why am I thinking Fashion Nova has more in common with a computer than a human being? I don't know. Maybe they do. Daniel says, in the absence of convincing argument, the radical will simply say, well, you don't understand because you are indoctrinated, brainwashed. No. Egberto reveals the absence or weakness of his position every time he does it. No. I gave an explanation. I didn't just say you're brainwashed. I explained why. Why to see it otherwise means you're brainwashed. So I gave an explanation. I gave it with indentured servitude. I gave it with slavery. I gave it with everything that's been asked. If you want to ask a specific question, I'll be more than happy to give you a specific answer, Brother Ledo. All right. Daniel Ledo, to Michael Rudden to Daniel Ledo, if you keep parroting debunked talking points, yeah, one can correctly claim you've been indoctrinated, and that's the best answer thus far. Thank you very much, Michael Rudden. Breach MCP says, stop with Hunter cause you didn't like Hillary's answer. Always tit for tat with you. Michael Rudden says, Biden is a great president. Nah, man, not even close. I left that answer for you, Rudden. Daniel Ledo says, Lee Grant, dude, Egberto says threatening people us is free speech. If you encounter any legal issues, refer them to Egberto, the constitutional scholar. I'm so far away from a constitutional scholar, but also, though, I don't think the Constitution was all that of a well-written document at all. Actually, it has 27 amendments, right? Hey. Let's see. Hey, Michael Run says, Egberto, you asked me a question earlier. If you don't remember it, then it's not important. No worries. Hell, the question I probably asked you was to please look up something. I don't remember what it was. Somebody placed something on the screen, asked to look it up. I can't remember, but it's always important. Come on, Brother Rudden. Speaking of MSM, when are we going to see the list of child molesters that went to his island? And when will we get prosecuted? Or maybe we won't because Bill and Hillary is on it. Hey, I won't be defending them if they are on it. Matt Robinson says, tenants are the thugs in New York. No. I know where you're coming from, Matt, because of all the rent control that you have in New York. I think the reason you have rent control in New York is because exactly why people with price and power have priced these people out of the markets. You know, and, you know, I have a whole spiel on private property ownership of land and all that kind of stuff and who should pay. But that's for another talk. Paul Fleming says, fun fact, the former president is under at least 3 investigations. Exactly. Mike Cisak says, it's even worse. The lawyer who got Epstein off the first time back in 2006 is now the judge that signed off the search warrant at Trump's house. Even worse, he's also the judge overseeing the Trump TV, Vive, Hillary, Rico lawsuit, or what a little world we live in. Deb Denny, welcome aboard. Time to make your pitch. I love Deb Denny. Deb Denny always makes sure that I stay online. Here is my pitch. Politics Done Right depends on you to keep doing what we do. What do? We make sure to keep, number one, the internet seeded with blogs and information to counter the right and to present what progressives represent for the benefit of us all to everybody so that it's not misread, misled by any other entity. We make sure and populate that internet with blogs, with videos, with all these other things to make sure that we are informed and to counter everything that you normally hear that are lying at the right. We also make sure to create articles in magazines, articles in newspapers all around the country to ensure, again, that our message gets out there. Last but not least, we also write books. As you see it, Class Warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom, How to Make America Utopia, are two of the many books that I've written on these issues. So please support us in one of many ways. Numero uno, you can support us at PayPal, either one time or monthly. Go to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. You can support us on Patreon. That is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. You can support us by becoming a part of our YouTube channel, going to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube, or you can support us in many other forms that you can find at politicsdoneright.com/support. Be sure to visit our store, politicsdoneright.com/store, and get our books at politicsdoneright.com/books. Politics Done Right. All right, folks. All right. And please remember to help support our trip to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania next week, Wednesday. Still behind on the GoFundMe to fund the trip. So please go ahead if you have the opportunity to do so. politicsdoneright.com/netroots. It's a Netroots Nation conference of the largest conference of progressive bloggers, progressive activists, progressive writers, politicians, all these folks in one big place. So please support us at politicsdoneright.com/netroots or GoFundMe there. Alistair Waters says, Egberto Willis, is the shirt you're wearing in your Ask video orange? They don't have it in orange anymore, but they have it in I set it up for a cool red. I mean, there are a lot of other colors there. So check it out. Actually, if you're on YouTube, you can click it from YouTube to get to the store. You like the Firefox background? Great, I love that. All right. So again, folks, please support us however you can. Eric Hayes says, Egberto, justification of Bill Clinton action classic and jokes about it, but will pounce on others who. When did I joke about Clinton? I don't even like Bill Clinton. I mean, come on, man. You know, you don't try to find things that aren't there. You don't see me harp on a lot of Republicans that we just kind of tease about. All right. Why would the FBI, from Paul Fleming Sr., why will the FBI seize the phone off a spring congressman? When it comes to overturning the 2020 election, Scott Perry isn't just another member. He's a complicit. Norman Reynolds says, how many times did Hillary plead the fifth when she testified? But Bridge responded, apparently no time. Wow, I didn't know that. Bridge MCP says, Deb Denny, hey, and yay, time for the pitch. I did. Thank you, my beautiful people. Bridge MCP says, yes, Norman, that was the question Egberto Willis asked, but I answered it. I'm glad you answered it, girl. Let's see what else we got here. You know, Bridge MCP is one of our leaders in the house. Bridge and Radnin, they control a lot of the YouTube to make sure bad people don't show up in YouTube that are bots or things like that. All right, Alistair Waters says, give your likes, people. Give us, if you're on YouTube, give us those thumbs up. If you're on Facebook, give us the likes. I'm coming with the videos in 1 minute now. I got time to do the video so far. Tom C. Hey, Tom, ask Egberto anything on Saturday. It's not going to be possible because I didn't realize I had so many darn commitments this Saturday and next Saturday. It's crazy. I missed that first Saturday, so I'm going to have to postpone it to the first Saturday again, guys. I mean, it's going to be the next Saturday that's listed in the thing. But these weeks are so taken up with all the travels that I'm doing in the month of August. Tom C says, here now, better late than never. 17 watching, only 6 thumbs up. Come on, YouTube beautiful people. Give us those thumbs up. We need them. All right, let's see what else we got. Para ver. ¿Quién más está aquí? Will Snake, okay, Lee Grant says, will snake flag be allowed in Egberto's progressive utopia? Yes, absolutely. Remember, we are not communists, man. We are not here to tell people what to do. No. I don't believe in that. Peggy Lopez, ¿cómo estás? How you doing, my beautiful Peggy? On a long drive, listened to the Newt discussion, discuss Trump, learned from him that the right really believes there is one set of laws for them and the rest of us should follow the written law codes. You know, it's always been that way. Alice the Water say, Ad Egberto is a t-shirt. No, babe. But check it out at YouTube. Paul Fleming says, attention all Republican listeners, please go out and buy the book Battling the Big Lie. Since you won't believe Egberto, you should believe a former Republican telling you how you're being snowed. Michael Ronan says, Lee Grant is interested in misspelling utopia, realizing progressive values have spread through Europe. And yes, free speech will still be allowed, though if we follow Europe's rules, hate speech will not. Paul Fleming says, a judge told Rudy he must appear in court in Atlanta. Love it. All right, first video. And this one is about our Texas governor. You know, the right likes to talk about their Christianity, their belief in love, and they love people, and they believe in being righteous. Let's look at my governor. Check this out. Many Republican leaders like to pass themselves off as pro-life, we care about people, etc. I used to be a Christian. Do you remember that story in the Bible when this guy knocked on the door and he came into the house and the owner of the home looked at him and he said, I don't like you. You're unclothed. You're hungry. You're undressed. He came several times, 3 times if I recall. I don't remember exactly how many times. But then Jesus showed up to the home, and the guy said to some extent, hey, what took you so long, Jesus? Or I may be reinventing the story to a different way, but this is the idea. Then Jesus said, I already came here 3 times, and each time you denied me, you ignored me, And it turned out he just came to him in these different forms. And the person who is supposed to be loving to other human beings was very unkind. Now, it turns out that Gregory Abbott think it is in his benefit for the people of Texas to see him look at those folks who are coming from across the border. And since Texas wants nothing to do with them, if at all possible, ship them on a bus to New York, because New York is a sanctuary city, right? So you just throw them on a bus and go to New York. Of course, New York is there with open arms to take these folks, taxi cab drivers, etc., are driving these people to their destination free of charge. Who more reflects, for those who are Christians, who more reflects the Word of God? Check this out.
When you think about what the governor is doing, the governor of Texas, after a month of traveling across the border, placing on the bus with no direction.
I got one thing to tell you and to tell them. There are more buses on the way as we gather at this conference today.
Now, the mayor of New York showed that he was a magnanimous man, and he went over to meet these people sent by Greg Abbott from Texas. And Greg Abbott instead goes to a convention, to a conference or something, and he was proud to throw those people out of Texas and throw them to New York. What is going on in the minds of many of our GOP leaders that believe that as evil as can be is what people really love in him, in them. How can the mistreatment of people be a positive? How can the mistreatment of human beings who are coming over here for sanctuary because of many reasons, some of which we as a United States created in our economic excesses across the hemisphere? Who? And when they come, we treat them like dogs. When they come, we treat them like personas non gratas. Who is the one who really cares about life? Who are the ones that are really pro-life? That is so important for us to see, because they feel it is okay. Showing evil is what their people, they think, want to see. I think November going to be a big surprise. Here's this one is for Brother Fleming. Fleming, this one is for you. Check it out. I could not quite believe it when I saw Dana Bass had a slide ready to go. Biden's successes. The mainstream media is finally saying something nice about what Democrats and progressives have accomplished, with headwinds coming from a recalcitrant an obnoxious party, that Republican Party that refused to provide any sort of assistance, except maybe in places where some of their benefactors would get a few duckies here or there. Well, I've got to play it because I couldn't believe it, but it's long due. Check this out. We'll take it on the other side.
I want to just even look more broadly beyond this bill and look at some of President Biden's successes on his agenda. It's a long list, and I don't even have time to read it. It's that long. But not only what we're talking about now, $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, bipartisan gun safety bill, veterans, so on and so forth. I'm going to start with you, Congressman, because I know this is something that you want to talk about, which is understandable, and then we'll do the yeah, but after.
Well, I think it's been a great week for President Biden. He also took out the leader of al-Qaeda. He's on the verge of passing historic legislation to lower your healthcare costs, invest in fighting climate change, also address the deficit, reducing the deficit. So it's been a fantastic week. And also, we've gotten a lot done in these 2 years with extremely narrow majorities. And you know that, how difficult that is to work with. We got a 50-50 Senate. We got about a 3-vote margin in the House. And we've still been able to get a lot done. We can get even more done. We can get some more Democrats elected after this November.
Absolutely so. Now, look, granted, many of the bills that were passed weren't as progressives like myself and many others want. But you know what? You don't have a progressive enough caucus. If you guys want bills that really work for middle class and poor America, you have got to go to the polls in 2022, meaning in November, and you have got to vote in progressives. It's that simple. You want the filibuster gone? Vote in progressives. You want family leave? Vote in progressives. You want some student loan forgiveness? Vote in progressives. You want basic income? Vote in progressives. You want good health care? You want Medicare for all or some form of Medicare for all, health care for all? Vote in progressives. All the things that are going to make life better for you. That is what a progressive agenda looks like. That is what being a progressive is all about. That is what being a progressive is all about. And guess what? I'm going to be able to get to the last video. I am going to get to the last video. This one is going to blow some of your minds. Old videos, old reruns. Hey, they're great, aren't they? Remember the days when Fox News thought we needed to lock up Hillary Clinton. Remember the days when Hillary Clinton could do no good. I mean, I'm not a Hillary Clinton fan, but I remember how they attacked her. I mean, they had no evidence. There's just emails, and she may have had classified information that got out and all that good stuff. The one thing we do know is that Donald Trump, he had classified information at his home in Mar-a-Lago. We also know that previously the FBI or one of the organizations got a few boxes of material he shouldn't have from his home. Where is the lock him up for Trump? But I mean, let's remember history. Take a look at this, and then let's go ahead and take it on the other side, because, my friends, this is brilliant.
Clinton did not respond to reports that she used a private email, not a government email address, while she was Secretary of State.
And frankly, I think there's a potential this is a violation of the Records Law, the Records Act.
Nobody is above the law, not even Hillary Clinton.
Had you done it, or had I done it, I'd be off the Intelligence Committee. My classification would have been removed.
Isn't the mishandling alone, Judge Janine, isn't that in and of itself a crime?
Yes. I think she should be in jail for what she did with her emails, okay? She should be in jail.
We do not need a reckless president who believes she is above the law. Lock her up. That's right. That's right. Lock her up.
Hillary Clinton shouldn't be allowed to run.
But it's okay if it's a he, not a she. From the party of law and order to the party of big-time hypocrisy. After that FBI search, Republicans are making it more clear than ever where their loyalties lie. And that is with the former guy, Donald Trump, no matter what the consequences.
What were you really doing? What were you looking for? Why not talk to President Trump and have him give the information you're after?
They will break down your front door. They will spy on your text.
Think about what they could do to you.
It's like, what about the Gestapo or people like that?
This is the worst attack on this republic in modern history.
And this is a chilling moment in the country's history. This is an abomination.
All of them have to be held accountable.
Banana Republic.
The Banana Republic. This is Gestapo crap, and it will not stand.
Is a declaration of war.
They can do it to you. That sure is bananas. Mark, compare that to what we just heard those very same people say about Hillary Clinton's emails.
Hey, let's just listen to Trump. Lock him up. That's what he says. He pretty much says, lock me up, because I did all these things that Hillary did, and I wanted her locked up. It's amazing. Nothing applies to him, right? I mean, today or yesterday, I believe it is, either yesterday or today, he went in front of the grand jury and pleaded the fifth. But then, wasn't he saying, if you don't have anything to hide, if you're innocent, there's no need to take the fifth? That's what he did. Again, we need to, I mean, I understand a lot of folks don't want to admit it, but we have to. I like the way that MSNBC put the two things together, right, to show the hypocrisy. And the thing about it is, we need to get this in front of those folks on the right. And look, they're going to hold steady. You know, they're going to, even when they see that, you know, their hate for the libs or whatever is likely going to allow them to continue to kind of not fool themselves, but not to take, you know, ignore it, you know, let it be bygones. But what happens, folks, is it plants a seed. And when they come back with the attacks on the libs again, while it will not be, they will not become libs, it won't have the impact that it had before. Because what these guys ultimately realize is that, you know what, Fox News, kind of full of crap, you know, and it's just a political game. And you know, we don't have or necessarily or trying to convince conservatives to become left-wing progressives or anything like that. We just want them to vote their interest. And the interesting thing is they'll realize that their interest is lockstep with ours probably 80 to 90% of the times. That's all we want. Be a conservative. Be whatever you want. Let's just all live together and vote our interest. Vote your interest. Vote your interest. Let's see, we are at 57. We got 3 more minutes. Okay, throw stuff into the feed, and we'll close this out with the last few messages that come through. Let me see if there is anything in the list. It is day from Paul Fleming. It's day 57 of declining gas prices to $4 a gallon. Amazing. I wonder why. ¿Por qué está bajando el precio de la gasolina? Why are the prices of gasoline falling? All right. Egberto Willies. They had nothing on Hillary yet. 11 hours of testimony and no evidence. Trump clearly took documents, 12 boxes in February. Then the FBI told the Secret Service an hour before they were coming and got 15 more boxes because someone told them there was a national security breach. Okay. Paul Fleming says, I don't live in Texas. Thank God. It's not all that bad. Axios from Mike Cisak says, credit card debt surged by $46 billion last quarter, a 13% jump from the prior year that marks the biggest increase in over 30 years. I wonder why. Remember what I said. When I discuss what was done in this capitalist society, people didn't get raises commensurate with productivity that they created for the capitalists. They didn't get raises for not only the increased productivity, but the inflation rate over time. And remember, inflation is what these companies charge more. But the spoils from charging more for products, the spoils from productivity, didn't go to the employee. It went to the employer and the shareholders, the executives and the shareholders. The executives got bonuses. The shareholders got both either stock buybacks or dividends. They gave you the semblance of having more power to purchase. They gave you more purchasing power, but they sold you that purchasing power called credit card. So as your wages stayed flat, your ability to borrow was increased. So they could continue to profit. And as they profited, you continued to pay them extra, called interest, on the loans you had to take, the credit card loans Mike Cisak is talking about. You had to pay on the monies that you bought your stuff with, which wasn't in increased wages, because if you had increased wages, you wouldn't have to borrow to buy the stuff. And with the inflation rate that we have now, that's what people found themselves. Buying groceries on credit cards. All these things. So you're not only paying higher for groceries, but you're going to be paying them interest on the higher prices they charged you. Isn't that a great way to make money, you capitalist powerhouse? I increase the prices with inflation. You have to borrow to continue living. And then I make more money when you pay back what you borrowed. Madre mía, si yo pudiera hacer eso, if I could do that. Brothers, the Mike Cisak, the brother Grant, the brother Ledoux, and all of you supporting this corrupt economic system. Realize what you are doing. Because it's not only yourself you're hurting. I mean, you feel fine, you're hurting yourself. But you're hurting all of America. My name is before I go, one more ask. Please, folks, support the program. Go to politicsdoneright.com/support, and you'll find all the different ways to support us there. And please support our trip to Pittsburgh, politicsdoneright.com/netroots. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! Welcome to Politics Done Right, I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.